Dennis Hennigan is the Law and Policy Vice President for the Brady Campaign to Prevent Gun Violence. He's also the author of Lethal Logic. And John Lott is the author of More Guns, Less Crime. Here to talk about the Supreme Court ruling on Monday on gun rights and the impact of that decision on the debate on the right to bear arms. In the Real Clear Politics website, Thomas Sowell writes that judges, the Constitution, and gun control laws, he says, now that the Supreme Court of the United States has decided that the Second Amendment to the Constitution means that individual Americans have a right to bear arms, what can we expect? John Lott?
Well, I think this is an important decision. We still have a long ways to go in terms of lots of questions that the court has to answer, but at least it's saying that not only with regard to what the federal government's concerned about, but also the states, you can't completely ban an entire category of guns. In D.C., they also said that you couldn't mandate that people have to lock up guns. There are going to be lots of other decisions that come down. D.C., after the Heller decision 2 years ago, passed a whole slew of new laws. $550 fee to registered guns, making people have to go to the police station 4 times, take 2 tests. Things that basically make it so only very wealthy people are going to be able to own guns. And those are going to be challenged. And the same thing is going to be happening with Chicago, because Daley's already promised those regulations plus additional taxes and fees that people have to pay.
The court's ruling on Monday was in McDonald versus the city of Chicago. And Dennis Hennigan, what did you make of the ruling?
Well, it was the ruling that pretty much everybody expected. The same 5 justices that 2 years ago held that the Second Amendment guarantees an individual right to have guns apart from militia service held this week that that right should be extended to the states. What's important, though, about both of those decisions is that in both decisions, the court went out of its way to make it clear that despite the existence of this right, it's not an absolute right at all. It's not unlimited. It is subject to reasonable restrictions. The court even laid out some kinds of restrictions that could still be imposed, like imposing conditions on the commercial sale of guns, banning the concealed carry of guns, regulating what kinds of guns people can have, regulating where they can take guns. We found that language very reassuring. Very few cities ever had handgun bans. The district and Chicago were 2 of the very few. But there are a lot of common sense gun laws out there that have been enacted, that need to be enacted to keep guns out of the hands of dangerous people while allowing law-abiding citizens to have guns.
So do you suspect, as John Lott said, that all of these different laws out there that put limitations on handguns will be challenged and brought before this court?
Well, there will be a lot of lawsuits, unfortunately. There were in the wake of the Heller decision 2 years ago. There will be a lot of challenges to gun laws at the state and local level. Most of those challenges will be brought by criminal defendants who are trying to avoid indictment and prosecution under those gun laws. What we think we will see, though, is that with very few exceptions, gun laws will be upheld. And I hope this is going to redirect the debate away from the question of whether guns should be allowed or not allowed to the question of what kind of life-saving regulations can we impose on gun ownership and gun sales to keep guns out of the hands of dangerous people.
Elena Kagan, the nominee for the Supreme Court, was asked yesterday about the court's decision in McDonald versus the city of Chicago, also about their Heller decision by Senator John Cornyn. Here's what she had to say.
Senator Cornyn, I think that Heller is settled law, and Heller has decided that the Second Amendment confers such an individual right to keep and bear arms.